Not Too Young to Run, that campaign has really progressed. It seeks to reduce the age limit for running for elective office in Nigeria and indeed globally. So it is not a localized campaign, and it has gotten the endorsement of the United Nations. It also seeks to increase youth participation in the political process. The Nigerian Senate, precisely in July 2017, passed the bill. During the session, 86 senators showed support, 10 were against it, 1 abstained. On the whole, it passed the bill. The House of Reps followed suit, and by the last count we hear the concurrence has been held, and by implication, if it is assented to, it now means Nigerian youth can contest for presidency at the age of 35 and governor or senate at the age of 30. This is a departure from the initial 40 and 35 years limit mandated by the Constitution. It also implies that 25-year-old can now legislate in the national and state assemblies across the country. But for the bill to take effect, it requires the endorsement of 24 state assemblies and a presidential assent. Some issues quickly before we get to the main issue is that the fact that at the time the campaign was raging, the data indicates that if you are old enough to vote, you are old enough to run for office. And it is also indicated that 73% of countries restrict young people from running for office even when they can vote. 51% of world population is under 30 years. 2% of world parliamentarians are under 30 years. So if Nigeria has gone this far with the Not Too Young to Run bill, we are approaching an elective year, which is 2019, and the process on how fast will it catch up. Could it be amended before the electoral process really starts to enable young Nigerians to participate? I have 2 young Nigerians with me. They are both members of the Not Too Young to Run strategy team. Mark Amaza, thanks for joining me on Insight.
Thanks for having me.
And Ibrahim Farouk, thanks for joining me on Insight.
Thank you for having us on the program.
Okay. Yes, was there hope that you get to this stage before now?
Yes, there was hope that we would get to this stage. We have shown from the beginning that young people can organize effectively and work together. The campaign from the very inception has been a very broad-based campaign of young Nigerians, male and female, across different lines, especially across bipartisan lines, working together around issues of youth inclusion and youth participation in the electoral process. We are very proud of where we have gotten to so far, and we are sure that we can go even further.
Okay, it requires 24 state assemblies to endorse this before the presidential assent. So where are we now? Are you guys aware of where they are now? Because I hear it has not hit 24 yet.
No, we are not. Haven't hit 24 yet, but we have gone halfway. So far, 12 states have endorsed it. Looking at Borno, Adamawa, Gombe, Yobe, Benue, Nasarawa, Katsina, Ondo, Ekiti, Enugu, and Cross River.
Kwara.
And Kwara, Delta, not Cross River, excuse me. So we are looking at, 12 states have so far endorsed it, and we're confident that 12 more, at least 12 more states. I hope is that all the remaining states that are to vote on it will pass.
Do you imagine if by chance there's a somersault?
Well, we are working hard to ensure that doesn't happen, and we've been engaging with state legislators, and there's been a lot of agreement across in the remaining states that yes, this bill is needed to increase youth participation in our democracy. So I'm very confident that it will pass. Very
confident?
Yes.
Because you have to know that issues of constitutional interest, issues of political interest, you can't 100% say you're very sure. Anything can happen.
That's actually true, but I don't think in the history of constitutional amendments in Nigeria we've had such an organized group of young people to come together and work on a singular issue. I remember in February last year we had young people from across the country, at least one person representing each of the 36 states, who have gone back and have been working and engaging with their state lawmakers for over a year. This includes writing letters, this includes advocacy visits to members of the state houses of assembly, this includes rallies and marches, and even personal visits to their constituency offices. I remember that the campaign also wrote individual letters, personalized letters to all 991 members in all the state houses of assembly across the country. Now, this is very huge. And if we say we have such a huge youth population, about 60% or 65% of the population is youth, and there's only one constitutional amendment issue that is targeting young people, I think it would be wrong for our lawmakers to just say we do not want young people in the process. What young people are asking for is more inclusion in the process, more participation. Let's just broaden the space so more young people can participate in our process.
You sound very convincing, I must say. 2019 is very close by. It looks far, but very close. Now, is it possible that this whole thing will play out to enable the young people to take part in the political process? Because if you say at this stage 12 states have endorsed, remaining 12, right? How soon and how well will this go?
Yeah, we believe that it can all come to pass before the election season officially kicks off, when INEC declares it's open for campaign period open. We are hoping, and in the next coming few months, couple of months, that the remaining states will pass this bill and will get the presidential assent. The good thing is that many young candidates are already ready, are already engaging with, already indicating interest to vie for offices. At the last count, we've had about 6 candidates under 35 and below for the presidency. We have in many states for governorship, we have for legislative offices. So they are not waiting until the bill passes. It also indicates the readiness of young people to run for office. It also indicates the willingness for young people to contribute their quota to Nigeria's development, not just as voters, but also as running and actively in government, contributing to policy development, to programs, and so on.
If they have indicated interest to run and the amendment process has not been concluded, will it work?
Well, in the instance that happens, of course it would not work, but we are confident that it would happen. That's why we keep on calling on all state houses of assembly to ensure that they pass the constitutional amendment process. We have engaged with members of the state houses of assembly one way or another. We have met with speakers of state houses of assemblies. We have gotten commitments from them that they would pass the bill. The onus now is on the state houses of assembly and on citizens to engage with them to make sure that this is passed speedily. INEC has, of course, released the timetable for the elections, so we know that there's a time frame within which this must be wrapped up. I remember when we met with the Deputy Senate President, who is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Constitution Review, and he said that the National Assembly hopes to wrap up the Constitution amendment process by March this year. So we just have a few more weeks for this to be wrapped up. Thankfully, we have already gone halfway with the state houses of assembly. We have 12. We need at least 12 more. We are confident of getting at least 30. And after that, we'll now target the president to ensure that he also signs the constitutional amendment, and then it is a law young people can run for office.
What if the elderly persons go to lobby him? Because it's about lobby, it's to delay it. He may be lobbied.
Yeah, well, yes, we agree.
And it bows to them.
He may be lobbied,
Okay.
but the good thing is, again, is that even most of the older people also admit that young people need to be more involved. Nigeria is by nature a young country. Look at the demographics, and it's only fair to have the bulk of the population that is young people more involved in the space. We're not trying to push older people out. We're saying we also want to just be part of the process. We believe there's a lot we can learn from the older people. We believe in intergenerational exchange of ideas.
Yes, I love the word
we
you
believe
used.
in mentorship.
I love the word you use, that you don't want to push the older people out. You want the younger people to participate.
Yes.
I'm happy. Just 1 or 2 weeks ago, I had a set of young men here who looked at sustaining the unity of the country. And they spoke glowingly well. The question is, are the young people ready? One, take a look at the already existing political parties in Nigeria. What positions are the young people clamoring for in those parties? Are they contented with just being youth leaders? Are they out to take up and wrestle power democratically with the elderly persons within the political parties?
Yes, and resoundingly yes. Young people are ready. Young people are prepared. Young people have shown in many
because that's the
different
challenge from
yes.
the elderly ones, that
And
the young people are not ready.
young people have shown many times that they are ready, and there are many examples of young people who are doing great things, not just in politics, but there are examples in the political space that I'll talk about, whether it is in entertainment, whether it is in sports, like the Super Eagles that we have. We have young people who are doing great things. If you go to Anambra State, for example, there's a young man who is Mark Okoye, who is the youngest commissioner, who has helped to drive the internally generated revenue of the state. In Kaduna as well, the commissioner for budget and planning, Mohammed Sani Dachijo, has been doing a lot of
But that is not an elective position.
a lot of great work. So if we have young people in appointive positions, it shows you that it can also be translated to elective positions.
Okay.
So it shows that young people are able to hold positions of authority and do really great things. And that is why I think we have seen an interest of more young people who want to participate in 2019. And that's why we need to open up the space. We should not have a constitution that places a hindrance on young people who want to participate. If you remember, in 1979, we had a constitution where at the age of 21, you could contest for legislative assembly in the House of Reps or in the State House of Assembly. However, when we returned to democracy in 1999, these ages were increased. So we need to go back to the 1979 status quo, where it said young people can participate.
Right now, we have gone past that stage. We are at the stage of saying, oh, this is the thing has been done, the space has been cleared, go ahead. And I'm trying to say, how ready are the young ones? I love what you articulated. The question is, what percentage of Nigerian young ones are in sync with what you're doing?
Now, if you look at 2015 elections, about more than 30 young people get interested to run for office. Those are the ones that got through primaries, and you have to look beyond just the major parties. There are many parties in Nigeria. We have about 64 parties. Many of them were candidates. Unfortunately, they were not able, because the constitution limited them. They're not up to that age. It's an indication of how ready young people are. Young people have been very engaged in Nigerian politics. We discuss politics every day. In our living rooms, in our offices, on social media. We are very engaged. We have ideas. Unfortunately, we now have this limit of age of eligibility. So when you remove that limit, you see a lot more young people who will run and who we hope that will win and who will contribute a lot to Nigeria's development. Already, like I said earlier on, there are many young people who have already started getting interest for running, who are already started engaging with stakeholders in their communities, in their states, who are already putting out ideas. It shows you the readiness of young people. Yes, yes, young Nigerians are very much in sync with this, are clamoring for this. Like Ibrahim said earlier on, this is the one thing young people are asking for from this constitutional amendment process, that there should be more inclusion.
Brilliant. Remember, women clamored for active space in politics, and in Nigeria, we also, a political party, held primaries, the only lady in the race, with all the ladies across the country participating. She had just one vote. So now, the question now is, beyond the fact that you're ready to be active participant, in politics, we talk about funding, we talk about money. Are you ready financially too?
Yes, and young people are ready financially as well.
Or do you intend to embark on crowdfunding?
Crowdfunding is definitely an option. But just to go back a little bit to tell you that over the past 1 year or so, we can count maybe, I think, at least 10,000 young people across 24 states that have come out to march in sync with the Not Too Young to Run bill. I remember in March last year in Borno State, where there were close to 5,000 young people who came out to march in support of the bill. In July as well, here in Abuja, on a rainy Tuesday morning, we had about 2,000 young people who came and marched to the National Assembly. And the next day, the Senate and the House of Reps both passed the bill. But to come back to answer your question, of course, young people are ready. One thing that I like is that the new Electoral Act, the amendments to the Electoral Act have reduced some of the costs for running for office. But it might also interest you to know that part of the Not Too Young to Run bill is mainstreaming independent candidacy in the electoral process. And what independent candidacy means is that a candidate can run independent of a political party. So that does a lot to reduce the costs associated with elections. And if you come down to some of the levels such as House of Assembly elections that are not too costly, we would have more and more young people who are running for State House of Assembly and making decisions at the state level as well.
Now, if the young ones still have that mindset of, I need money to go and vote, will all this work?
I'm glad you brought up the question of voter education. So let me start by saying Not Young to Run.
Do you have that in your strategy?
It is, because the Not Young to Run campaign is a coalition of over 100 organizations and individuals. And this is not the first attempt we have had at making this amendment. For 2007, young people, organizations, individuals have been engaged in doing voter education, not just targeting young people, but everyone, but especially making sure more young people vote and know what to vote for, are not induced by money. And if you look at it from 2011, there's been an uptick in young people voting. For example, from the late last year, there's been an increase in young people registering to vote. Those, not just those coming of age at any suffrage, but also those who have never voted before. There's more interest in voting, and there's more interest in voting not just for the presidential elections, but all levels. The conversation is broadening, so it is no longer just a focus on we need to get the right person in. We need to get every position we can vote for. We need to get the right person in, whether it's from councillorship, government chairmanship. So you will keep seeing this increase in young people voting, registering as voters and going out to vote on election day, and it's part of the result of our advocacy.
Let me take on Farouk. You hear that 6 states might not endorse this, and you have been given the opportunity to go and speak to them. Imagine you're appealing to them to ensure that this is done speedily. What would we be telling them there? Imagine you're talking to them now.
Well, the message is clear. The message is that young people make up the largest demographic in our population. And a democracy is about numbers, it's about interest, it's about the groups in the society. And we cannot claim to have a democracy if we exclude the largest demographic that we have. Young men, young women who make up the majority of people who come out to vote. In the interest of preserving and sustaining our democracy, we must pass the Not Too Young to Run bill, so that we have young people who have interest in the constitutional amendment process, interest in electoral and political processes, come out and make it a more vibrant democracy. What does this Not Too Young to Run bill do for us? It opens up the space for more participation. And one thing I love about being young is that young people have energy. Young people are innovative. Young people have ideas, new and fresh ways of doing things. And these are a lot of what we need in our political process right now, if we must move forward together as a country. And I like what my colleague Mark said. It is not about pushing any group out of the political space. It's about inclusion. Open up the space so that whether you're young or whether you're old, whether you're a male or whether you're a female, whether you're a person living with disability or not, there's space for you to participate equally in the electoral and political process of our country.
Okay. You are on voter education advocacy to a group of youths whose mindset is made up: pay me money before I vote. Without money, I will not vote. They just refuse to understand that their strength is the voter card they have. What will you be telling them in line with the Not Young to
Okay, in line with, what I will tell them is no matter how much they are given, that money can only take them a very short distance. But they need to vote for the right reasons, for the right people, so that because those people will make decisions that will shape their life for far longer than what that money can do for them. And in as much as it looks like an instant benefit, it's one that doesn't satisfy. And we have done that. Many people have done the collected inducements to vote, and it hasn't taken us anywhere. So we need to get to the point where we now vote for people not based on what they are giving us, but what they can offer when they get into office. Based on the whatever programs they will do, whatever projects they will do that will uplift our lives and their lives to a better level.
Okay. Yeah. So you think 2019 will be a better year for young people?
Well, 2019 is going to be a year for young people. Last year, there was a new word that was added to the Oxford Dictionary, which is youthquake. And it shows that young people are doing things and making changes, whether politically, socially, economically. And it's a year that we cannot afford to ignore the contributions of young people in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. We have been able to do some voter education yet today. And beyond here, you also sustain that, because like we said earlier, we are approaching an election year. INEC has already activated the timetable, and the young ones have been activated. You need to convince everybody across the strata to be convincingly there to support the young ones. Farouk Ibrahim, thanks for being on set with me.
Thank you so much for having us.
Mark Amaza, thanks for being on set with me.
Thank you very much for having us.
Up next.